family.
No, we'll go ahead and just say a quick prayer before we start. If y'all don't mind, I like starting out that way. Heavenly Father, we just thank you again for this time that you allow us to come together in our busyness and in our life, as we go along, but to learn more about how we can find that energy and joy. And we know, Lord, that through you, all things are possible. And again, Lord, I just thank you for these ladies. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right. So we are starting on Bring the Joy. And as we get into the holidays, joy starts to get either really good or a little bit harder, so for all of us. And I think he says in here how joy is one of the biggest things in a high performance life. Joy has to be there. All the other things don't work. Just like energy brings the positiveness. I highlighted so many things again in the joy part. Have y'all read through the whole chapter of joy and health and this part of energy? Let's see. The positive, he found that said neuroscientists have even found that positive emotions prompt new cell growth, whereas negative emotions cause decay. Gosh, if you think about how many little negative thoughts we bring out through our day, and we're destroying our health. And she'll go into that part in a little bit, but that was part of that just stuck out to me, thinking, okay, I need to really change some of those thoughts throughout the day and turn them into more positive thoughts. He was talking about, it turns out that joy, more than anything else, is what gives them the capital E in energy. If you feel joy, your mind, body, and emotional reality all get a lift. So the joy is a constant lift to all these things in our life. If you lack positive emotion, what is some of the things that you feel happens to you when you're lacking that positive emotion in your day-to-day? Anybody want to say?
Definitely affects the people around you. I know he brings it up later in the chapter, but you can just, just being around certain people. I mean, I try to be pretty positive all the time, but when you're around somebody that's, always, in a bad mood or complaining or stressed or whatever, I mean, it's a lot easier for them to bring me down than it is for me to bring them up.
What happens when life isn't joyous? I mean, what happens? You're just a miserable soul. I mean, that's what I feel like. And another thing, I think I've said this to my kids a lot, you are in charge of how you feel. But I need to be telling myself that, I preach it, but I need to be reminded I'm in charge of how I feel each day. And I can choose that each moment, not just in the morning when you start, but all throughout the day, because we have things coming at us in all different directions throughout your day. So you've got to choose your emotions. So we're going to go over to, because there's a lot of things in here. So we're going to talk about these new mental triggers. And I was talking about last week how when you hear the word trigger, we think about mental triggers, things that set people off. So we need to be aware of those, and they need to be fully aware of them so they know how to combat them. But this isn't what he's talking about here. He's talking about mental triggers for positive mental triggers that set your day in the forward swing of things. So one of them was notification triggers. And I like that how he put in there, and his notifications would just pop up in his phone throughout the day, bring the joy. No matter where he was in that moment, he could bring the joy. I thought that was really cool. So I'm going to add that to mine because I want to be able to bring the joy throughout my day. Door frame trigger. So when you walk into a meeting or walk into a doctor's office or walk into your child's room, how do you want to bring, or into your husband where you're coming into a room together, how do you want to bring that energy, that power, that positiveness? Waiting trigger. I'm not good at waiting. So this one probably needs to be on my list for sure. What level of presence and vibration do I feel right now on a scale of 1 to 10? By asking myself this question, I'm checking in on my emotional state, scoring it, and choosing whether it's sufficient to how I want to feel and how I want to live my life. So that one's important. touch trigger. I am a hugger. I love touch. I like that. And I can feel the vibes when I do that. You know, at convention, my husband laughed so hard. He's like, I just need a shirt that says I'm with Laura, because I was hugging and knowing so many people and getting to see people, and just, it was so good for my soul. And he just knew that lit me. Are you that? I mean, do y'all feel that with the touch figure? Yeah.
I'm a hugger for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just so good to hug y'all's necks when we were there. A gift trigger. This is a really cool one too. You know, what a gift. You can decide how you talk about how they felt, the sense of reverence, or in everyday life. Sometimes this comes from a spiritual place. They feel joy when they feel blessed by God, or sometimes they get it from a place of awe and wonder how beautiful the world can be. And like, I just walked around out here just observing the trees and the color, and there's just so many different colors around me right now. And how can you not just be so, that's a gift. Only God could do, you know, it's just beautiful. Stress trigger. We have, he talked about his brain injury, and gosh, I didn't even realize he had a brain injury. I mean, I guess I don't know enough about the man. I need to search more about him, but he had a brain injury, and he had to learn things over and do things. And, he always felt hurried and panicked, you know, so now he's found ways to be self-created with his stress and how to no longer be in that part of his life. Gratitude, you know, is the golden frame through which we see the meaning of life. Now, I may not write my gratitudes down every day, but boy, I'm speaking them all the time, because I am so thankful for where he has me in my life, where he's got us going. And I want him to know that. And I want people around me to know that. I tell them, you know, I'm so thankful for you and what you did and what you're doing. So we go on 120 in my book. I don't know what it may be in your book about the performance prompts.
113 in the hardcover.
Let's think about these 3 questions here that they had us do. And it was 3 prompts, otherwise 3 questions I could ask myself every morning to prompt positive emotions for the rest of the day. Could be. If you want to list some of those on here, let's share them with each other. And I like some of his prompts that he used, that he asks himself in the shower. He's like, what can I be excited about today? You know, what is something that's going to just really bring you joy and positiveness? What or who might trip me up or cause stress, and how can I respond in a positive way? That's a good one, guys. We really have to work on
that one.
I mean, we deal with a lot of people. When you're a people worker working with people, you have to figure out ways to combat at them. Who can I surprise today with a thank you, a gift, or a moment of appreciation? Don't you love those little nudges of thank yous and maybe an unexpected gift? I mean, I think that really does make us all feel joyful and happy. The next one is some new triggers I could set for myself include my examples of notification, doorway, waiting in line triggers. What are some new triggers that you think you may need more work in? What area in those triggers that were mentioned today?
I really like the phone one. I definitely put a couple phone alarms in my phone when we did this last time. The doorway thing, I mean, I feel like that's so genius because you get so many more triggers throughout the day, but I have yet to master it. I might have to go with some sticky notes on the door frames until I get used to the door frame being the actual trigger, but I do love both of those a ton.
I like that. A new routine. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I really like that doorway one too, like entering a new space and thinking like, well, I'm going to find something good in here instead of walking in. Because I know like, for me, like the stress, I walk into a room and I see all the stress, like there's piles of clutter, or there's something like, that's what I focus on first. So walking in and thinking like, okay, what's good in here? And like you
Yeah.
said, especially like walking into my kids' rooms, like, oh,
Yeah, because the first thing you're thinking of, oh, why didn't they pick that up? Why did they do this? Why didn't, and that I had to really, I was
Mhm.
so bad at that.
And just about like bringing positivity into the space too.
Yeah.
Like I've
Yes.
really been working
Well,
on that a lot this week with my kids. Like,
and it changes their attitude.
Mhm.
It does. Whoever you're around, if you start with positive, they can't come back at you too easily with something really negative, because they're like, ah, what's with her? She's being totally different here.
Totally.
A new routine I could begin for replaying the positive moments of my days. And he talked about where in the evenings he would write down 3 things that brought positiveness into his day. And then on Sunday, I think he kind of replayed his whole week. What made him happy? What brought joy? What brought the energy? And I do that a lot. I'm a thinker, dreamer. I love to think about, oh, this week, we really have had a great week here in Massachusetts. Things have gone well. We've had good travel, those kind of things, just very positive thoughts of, yeah, I'd like to be home already, but we're not. But I'm very happy to be able to do what we're doing and where we are.
Did you guys talk about the journaling at the end of the day?
Yes,
Where we are.
I missed that. Okay.
that's what we're talking about now.
That's what we're talking about right now. Yeah.
Distracted.
I think Emily Gibson has in one of her trainings, she was like thinking back on the day and focusing on what did I accomplish? What did I, instead of all the things you don't think you did. And she says,
Right.
This is what, obviously, she's big about planning for the next day, but she's like, you've got to remember, what did I do today that I'm proud of? So you're, ending the day with that positive, kind of like he says, with that positive note.
I used to do
How
it.
about you guys? I end up journaling all the things I did wrong.
Yeah.
Like
I
I
was gonna say that.
journal, this day could have been better. I did this. I'm a lousy person, whatever,
Turn that around.
No.
Well, but I feel like I don't have a lot of people here to talk to about that. So like if there's something negative, I'm the kind of person that has to get it all out.
Mhm.
I have to spew it all out. I have to write it all down before I can get to, okay, what went right?
So you need a
Mhm.
second book. You need a second journal.
Yeah.
So after you spew all your negative, then you finish your night by looking back and writing at least 3 things. I think Oprah, I did it a couple years ago, and I think it was like an Oprah thing about writing gratitudes for the day and how it totally changes your mindset as you go to bed, and it
Mhm.
helps you wake up feeling
Mhm.
different too. And it's so good, like you said, at the end of the week to go back and read all the things, but they have to be like super specific. Like you can't just say,
Yeah.
like, I was
Had a good
grateful.
day.
Yeah. Like it has to be like super, I'm grateful that Mia picked up her sock. Like
Yeah.
it had to be
Yeah.
something like super specific that you pinpoint that you're feeling grateful for that day. And it was hugely powerful. I really need to get back to it because I found my journal the other day, and it's been like a good year since I've written in it. But
I
Yeah.
looked over the stuff I journaled the first time we did this. And I remember a lot of it being like the struggle I was having in the moment, but that I also had a plan in there, which I feel like
Mhm.
is the positive part. So I struggled with this. Here's the plan. This is what I want to do. And I noticed that a lot of things changed. The things that I wrote down that I was struggling with, work and traveling for work and Jack and different things that I wrote down at that time, have changed. So I do believe that when you write them on paper, just like when you put them on a vision board, or when you plan, when you actually have a goal, which he talks about soon in the next part, I think, you definitely achieve it more than when you just keep it in your head and you say, well, I have this goal, I'm going to get those Nikes. When you write that crap down, I have this goal, I'm getting the Nikes, and this is how I'm going to do it, then you're more likely to get it done.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's my space. That's my thing.
I
for
can
today.
relate to you, Lisa, on the writing the negative, out in journaling, because I did years of that. I've got them all over the house. I told the kids they're going to have fun when they find them. But I wrote so much of what I was dealing with as a mother and as a traveling mom and just all that stuff. So I can relate to that. But I love the thoughts now of just finding those 3 things through the day, because you'll find them. They're there. And like she said, it can be like the kid picking the sock up. I mean, something that's beneficial to your thought process. But we need to keep the joy, find the joy. No one can take your joy away. That joy is there. No one can take it away. My dad always told me that. Nobody takes your joy away. Happiness maybe, but not joy. Joy is always in your heart. You just have to be able to believe it.
I told you guys the story about how I put that in my phone, and every time it goes off, it's always when I need to find the joy or bring the joy. So it goes off in my phone, and I put it in there specifically one at 7 o'clock, and my son looks at me and he goes, "Your phone wants you to bring the joy." And I told him, I said, "Just shut up." Something like that. I'm like, yes, I know it reminds you, but you have to stop and say, okay, it's like a mindful moment in time of your day. And sometimes it doesn't come at the right time. And you're feeling like,
Yeah.
I don't want to bring the joy right now. But if you just remember to try to, then I think you'll be better off overall and have more energy.
I had put one alarm in my phone that said, and I got to put it back in my phone because I reset my phone, but it was something along the lines of, if you keep doing what you're doing right now, will you be where you want to be in 5 years? And when that sucker goes off, it does not always make me happy. I'm like, shut up. I get it. Okay.
I might
will get back on
curse.
track in a minute. But I had to go off like 2 times a day. And like those times when I usually get pretty distracted, and I was like, all right, I get it. I am wrapping it up.
That's a good one.
Stupid phone.
Yeah. Was there any more questions on that part of the chapter, or are we going on into the health?
I really liked in that chapter too, if you're always in a state of hurry, anxiety, stress, and busyness, then what energy are you teaching others to adopt? And for any of us that are moms, that hit me really hard the first time I read it. I was like, oh, because I kind of live in that state. I really liked that.
Yeah, I highlighted that.
All right, guys, I have so much for the next section. Oh my goodness, so good, so good. I will try not to make it go forever. So optimizing health in practice 3, he begins by talking about like his super simple routine with a glass of water, a 3-minute run and a stretch. And he combines this when he's writing a book, when he's going to go, speak on stage or whatever. And he picked it up by seeing other high performers do it. It's like a 3-minute, I mean, that's probably like what, 5 minutes, a glass of water, a 3-minute run and a stretch. And I know for me, sometimes that's all I have. And it really picks me up. If I'm feeling like slow, I'm like, I'm just going to go out on the bike. And sometimes it's literally 3 minutes. And it feels kind of pathetic, but I feel so much better. But I love how he talks about that. And he brings up too that it's such a simple cycle, but he admits that at first it felt hard to get his health back. One of the comments was on page 115 in the hardback. Everyone in my industry works hard, so I have to cut out something somewhere. And let me tell you, working out was the first thing that I cut out. I don't know about y'all. And the next thing that came in was those frozen meals. I'm like, I don't got time for this. Okay, it was bad. So I love how he said that it seemed like it was something that was hard at first until he, got that simple routine down. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I've become successful on 5 hours of sleep was another thing that he said. I don't know about successful, guys. I mean, I think we're functioning maybe, but how successful are we? I know Brooke has mentioned how she always thought she was a night owl, but when she really looked at what she was getting done, it was not at all, as productive as if she just got up in the morning and did work. And I've definitely found the same thing. I've started shifting because I'm like, I might be functioning on 5 hours, but I'm definitely not putting forth my best foot. And then, when I read this, I immediately thought of Lisa and was curious about her thoughts on it. I'll focus on my health in 90 days. And I know you just had that big push. And he was talking about, but that 90 days really never feels like it comes, right? Like, yeah.
So yeah, I thought this whole section was just it's so much more important now and timely now because we have reset and we have new tools to kind of reset our life. And I feel like my health is still, I don't know, business wise, I'm just starting to get back into things, but my health is something I have continued to focus on. I may be a little bit more tired than I usually am at right now, but I have continued to focus on my health. And I think that's a thing that's kept me going.
That's awesome. I love it. I was super curious what you were going to say on that because I know you have that big push.
Oh, I know. And the push, I think for me was more mental exhaustion than physical, but keeping your physical health is so important so that your mental health follows. So if anything, if you're feeling mentally drained and you keep the physical part going and the eating right and the healthy habits and all of the things that you've struggled. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but all my life I've struggled with this. Like, okay, I'm going to be good. I'm good. Okay, let me have a drink. Let me go eat something. Let me go whatever. And then, or let me go on vacation and eat whatever I want. And oh, it's only a week, right? Oh, that week can put you behind for like a month. So I'm trying to focus on if I have a day where I don't do well physically or with my health or, eating habits or whatever, I immediately the next day or even that same day get right back on it. And
I love that.
it's helping me mentally. Who knew?
I love that. I also saw someone, and I can't remember who it was, talk about how they traveled with the reset. And so they were doing the reset like in the airport. I was like, this is genius. I'm gonna like get to the other end of my
Hashtag
vacation.
goals.
Right? Gonna get to the other end of my vacation and not want to eat horribly and then feel yucky when I come home. I thought that was genius. I'm like, every time I travel now, I'm thinking about a line. Like, you're gonna have me a reset.
And I'm thinking about, sorry, my little
You're okay.
guy's running through the house here. Oh, hold on. I'll come back to it.
Okay. He goes on to talk about the BDNF, which is brain-derived neurotrophic factor. I love this. I don't know if you guys have ever read Switch on Your Brain, but they go into a lot of science behind this. And we really can, like, we're creating new neurons every single day in our brain. And the way we're thinking is how those neurons are developing. This goes a little more into Switch on Your Brain, but it's so true. And we might have like genetic predisposition for certain things, but at the end of the day, like our mindset and how we're treating our bodies really does create the health that we have. If you haven't read Switch on Your Brain, it is so good. But he talks about by exercising, you're going to increase the production of this BDNF, which is causing those new neurons that I talked about to grow. It's going to create the plasticity. And so we're going to learn faster. We're going to remember more, just improve overall brain function. And I mean, talk about making it easier to run our businesses, right? Like if I can remember better and my brain's functioning higher, that's going to make it so much easier. So I really love that. That was one of my favorite parts. I always love the science behind why we do what we do, right? And then I'm trying to follow my notes and the book so I can help you guys go on.
Janet, who wrote that Switch on Your Brain book?
Oh, I'd have to look it up for you. I'll look it up.
Okay. Well, that's okay. I just thought you had it in front of you. Also, I have a question back when you started this segment. You talked about scheduling, those things in your phone, the alarm. How do you do that? I don't know how to do that.
There's two ways that you can do it. You can create it like it's a reminder in your phone and then just make sure the reminder actually is an alert that pops up. Or the way I do it is I just have like alarms. I create an alarm and then I like name the alarm, whatever I want it to pop up on my phone.
Okay. Thank you. And so do you do that, go in and click it every day, or do you put it in your calendar and it comes up then?
You can go ahead, Karen.
I was going to say, do you have an iPhone?
Yes.
Okay. You have a little thing. It looks like a white piece of paper with lines and dots. It's a reminder. And you just go in there and you push the plus and you put a reminder. And then you could go every day at 11 o'clock, and every day at 11, it will go off, and it won't, the little red flag and everything will stay up till you dismiss it. So it'll automatically, you said if you want it to be recurring or whatever, but the reminder app is awesome.
Okay, thank you.
And I do it using the clock. I use it by setting an alarm.
Alarm.
Yeah,
How do
that's
you
what I do.
name your alarm? I didn't know you could name your alarm.
I
Um,
In
named
the
mine.
iPhone.
You can put it, where is it? Well, you got, when you push a new one and it says label,
Label. Thank you. I see that now.
Okay,
then you can
Thank
push
you.
whatever.
And I put the book and the author in the chat.
Thank you, Laura.
Thanks.
thank you.
Can I share something really quick?
Yes, go for it.
Going back to where got interrupted by my kids. One of the things that I wanted to talk about was regarding health and how we stay on track. We were back at that subject. Remember, over the next like 2 months, we need to really focus on staying healthy during the holidays, and whatever, and Melissa and I have been talking about this, and we're creating like a guide that we're going to give out for free that's going to be focusing on the holidays. So all of your posts, all of your everything, how do you stay healthy over the holidays is going to be super important, because then people start following you, finding your value in what you're posting. And then when January comes and they really want to reset, they're going to look for you to do that. So that was my just business tip for the day.
I love that, Lisa. It is always good to focus on I like focusing on something specific over like a quarter of time. You know what I mean? Like 3 months or 4 months. And that's really good, because it will set you up for success in January. So on page 117, he goes on to talk about, I don't have time for X. I'm sure you've all said that a couple times, right? If you have a couple things, share them in the comments if you're brave. But I've definitely said that a couple hundred times. He talks about ranking your health, like your physical energy, and let's see here. Gauge your physical health now. Rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you're practically dead, and 10 being you're almost feel physically energized and strong all the time. And if you are a 7 or above, if you're not a 7 or above, then this chapter is the most important to you. That's what he goes on to. And then he talks about how. And I skipped around a little bit, but of course, let's see here. He goes into the 5% of performers are 40% more likely to exercise than at least 3 times a week than 95% of the people below. I don't know about you, but that tells me I have to exercise to be successful. Okay, well, your point made on that one. It's interesting, on page 119, he says, once you get an exercise routine down, then start tackling your healthy eating. And warns that eating should also never be about satiating a bad mood. Ooh, let me tell you, I like to eat to feel better. And if we're in a bad mood, then we should just move our bodies. But then on 120, he does comment on the fact that different people are different when it comes to this. So sometimes, yeah, exercising first makes you want to eat healthier, but other people, it's easier to tackle the eating because eating's not something new that we're doing. Exercise potentially could be. So just keep that in mind. It could be easier to start one or the other, depending on who you are, who you're working with. And then I'll touch on really quick. He talks about where to start. You know, find a good doctor. We know this. If they don't know about supplements and nutrition and they're not asking you those really good questions, guess what? You need to find a new doctor. I know that's harsh, but I am big on holistic doctors now, naturopathic doctors. I won't talk to anyone that does not have extra learning in those categories. Your environment. I love at our work, we're surrounded by people who care about their health. I feel like that's so beneficial to us. So watch your environment, make sure the people that you're hanging out with also care about their health.
Janet, do you have, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, you're fine.
Do you have any suggestions on how to find the natural doctors? Like in your area, is it a Google thing or word of mouth?
Naturopath.
Okay.
I Googled, and depending where you are, it can be really hard to find them. And depending on your insurance, it might not even be covered by insurance. So keep that in mind. Definitely check what insurance covers what.
Okay. Thank you.
And then he challenges us 12 months to get in the best shape of our lives. I don't know if you guys have gotten to this part. It's really, really in detail. So I would recommend you guys reading it on your own as well, but I'll hit on a few points. Start with what you already know. Typically, we know what habits aren't working for us, what habits we need to change, which ones we need to focus on. He says, start there. Then he talks about, again, getting a comprehensive health diagnosis. So back to the doctor piece of it, not just a regular checkup, but really your triglycerides, your cholesterol, all these things, really get as in-depth as they're willing to give you. A sports medicine doctor, a nutritionist. If you're not familiar with gut health and you don't feel comfortable with that, talk to a nutritionist. I actually went to a nutritionist and she was like, you know more than I do. Your numbers look good. Take vitamin D. Like, she was baffled. She didn't even know what was going on with X Factor. And I'm like, it's because it's methylated. She's like, oh, okay. So, take that with a grain of salt as well. But a nutritionist is really great because at least they can give you like what your reports look like. 8 hours of sleep. This was a hard one for me, guys. 8 hours of sleep. Find a personal trainer. A starter plan. Again, read that section really well. Let me see if I can find it for you. It's on page 123, one of the bullet points. He talks about specifically what a starter plan looks like. Get approval for your doctor, but it's a more like buckle down schedule for an actual exercise routine. And stretching. I love the stretching one, guys. So good for circulation. If I've been sitting too long, sometimes I'll just walk back and forth and then I'll stretch and sit back down. And that in itself helps so much. Did you guys have anything you wanted to touch on before I went into the performance prompts and the journaling? Any favorite parts or highlights? Okay, so the first performance prompt, I want to get as physically healthy as I can at this stage of my life because that's a really good one to think about. Why do you even want to get healthy? Why does it matter? What happens if you don't?
I'm going to change that for myself to, I'm going to stay physically healthy because I do already work out a ton. Because I want to be able to be snow skiing and water skiing and that sort of thing with my grandkids. Because that's a huge thing at being 55, is looking around at people your age and realizing how sad it is that they are missing out. They think they're so old. My little sister even said something the other day about, oh, we're getting older and this and that. I'm like, that is in your head. I said, I almost have double my life to live. Unless that life takes me, I'm probably going to live to be 100. I don't really want to live, but I was like, and I want to be able to be doing all this stuff. I mean, she's already quit snow skiing, quit water skiing. I'm too old. I'm like, you realize I'm older, right? So no, I want to be out there doing that with my grandkids.
I love that. The perfect reason right there. Anybody else want to share?
Amen, Karen. I have 3 grandkids and the youngest one is only a year old. So, and then 2 of my kids don't even have kids yet. So that's why, that's my thing, is I want to be around so that they'll know who their grandma is.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa says she has a grandson who depends on her. And that's something I've said before to some other special needs moms, is like, we don't have a choice. We have to be healthy. We have to be healthy. We have to be strong because they're strong. Okay. And they will wrestle you, man. Let me tell you. Okay. I don't have a choice but to be healthy. And I don't know how long he's going to need me forever, but potentially. And I
How
think
old
about
is he?
that a lot.
How
My
old is
son
he?
right now is 6.
Okay, so I started lifting weights in the Peloton app like about, I don't know, a year ago. I swear that has helped. He's almost 12 and he's strong. But being able to grab him and, to hold on to him if he's trying to do something or hurt something, then they're so strong. It's almost like they have superhuman strength.
They do. They really do. Like, look it up. It's
They
like,
do.
it's a superpower of theirs that they are typically stronger than the average child their age. In fact,
Definitely.
it's so weird, but if you feel my son's legs, they're like rock solid muscles. It's like, it's not like baby fat 6-year-old. It's like he is a solid little man, and I have to be healthy.
You do.
That's mine. Anyone else want to share on that first one? Okay, the second one, if I was going to get in the best shape of my life, the first 3 things I would stop doing would be
Making excuses.
I'm right there with you, Lisa.
Staying up too late.
Mine's
That's a good
snacking
one for
late.
you. What'd you say, Janet? Sorry.
Mine's snacking late, so I found that like when I stay up late, I tend to start snacking again. I'm like, oh, maybe this is another reason I shouldn't stay up late. It's a habit I need to break.
Yes, Laura, me too.
Yeah.
I need to drink more water. So that's my thing, is drinking the water too. I
Is
mean,
it
along with
already
everything else
time?
you all said.
I had gotten really good about drinking water and then I like slid backwards. For me, I put contingents on it. So like I want my pink drink. So I make my self drink a whole glass of water before I make my pink drink. And then I'll make myself drink a whole glass of water before I make my active, because that's my motivation.
There you
That
go.
is
That's a great
active.
idea.
That's a great habit stack.
Oh,
Definitely.
I agree, Melissa, on that. The scrolling.
Yes,
Mhm.
Melissa, I've been more intentional after watching the Brooke video. Did you watch the rest of it yesterday? It's so good. And she talks so much about not scrolling, not being affecting your time.
Yeah, I look back at some days and I'm like, what did I do today? Nothing. I scrolled. Like, it's bad. And I hate when the iPhone, like at the end of the week, it's like, your screen time has increased by 35%. You've spent 10 hours online. I'm like, holy whoa.
I'm like, did I really? Are you
I
sure
even
about
have
that?
10 hours in my day. Like, where did we find that?
And I don't know if y'all know this, and my dad brought it up before they got their phones, but he said he had seen this article that, so, the scrolling, like with your phone, especially, there is a physiological brain that is an addiction. There is something in your brain, and the creators of them, we don't go sideways. There is something linked to this that is easily addictive. So if you really think about it, especially on your phone, or even like on my mouse, I've noticed I'll just sit there and I'm like, what am I doing? It's like, oh my gosh, they totally got you. They knew what they were doing. Because they were like, if you had to click and do something, anything other than that smooth little scroll or whatever, they said they researched it and made it that way on purpose.
And
I've
I
seen it
noticed
with
too,
my app.
before social media even became a thing, I did a lot more writing. I was always writing stuff and doing the journaling and doing the things. But now that social's here, it's like, oh, I'll just be sucked into it. Let's just read this stuff and everybody else's stuff.
Yeah. Oh, people leaving? Bye.
Yeah, Lisa had to go help Jack.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah, I started setting timers. I'm like, oh, I'm scrolling. Okay, well, only 5 more minutes.
Good idea.
That's smart.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and because I know Brooke has also talked about like intentional scrolling before you post and intentional scrolling after. Man, so I set that timer because it's like, wait, how much time has really passed?
Well,
And it's
now
Oh,
your iPhone, you can set it up now to say personal time, and it won't notify you of all those things that are coming in. And then, so like from 12 to 2, I have mine on silent. I mean, I can get important phone calls because I have to with work, but you don't get all the social stuff going on. And so if I leave my phone alone, I'll go put it on the counter or go put it somewhere.
Sorry.
And it works good.
I actually leave my phone in focus 24/7. I think Brooke mentioned it in high performance. I went in, or actually maybe it was Tiffany Peterson when I did her coaching stuff. She's like, go into your settings and turn off every single notification for every single app. Like, you don't need to be notified when Messenger when Messenger sends a message. You sit down and you have an intentional work time that you do that. Like, you don't need to be notified throughout the day. And turning off my notifications for every single one of my apps was life-changing for me.
Is there a way, like I'm old, and so I work on my computer. Well, I'm older than a lot of the other people, so my eyesight's going bad. but like the messenger in Facebook, you can't, I mean, it doesn't ding, but you still see there's messages. Is there any way to turn that off? I've
Yeah,
got
you
the,
go in and set up your notification where you want it, you know, for so many hours or for a long time. And I think it doesn't show up when you turn them off.
but I have to do it to every messenger chat. I have
Yeah.
all that turned off on
Yeah,
Messenger,
you have to do, yeah, you have to do it to each chat.
every thread.
Yeah.
Cause like
I
my
know.
phone, I just have none and I don't see it until I go into the app. I like that.
Yeah.
When I'm on my computer and then it's like, I can
They're all there.
see it. And I'm like, I'm working really hard on not, cause I'm a yellow and if somebody asks me questions, I feel like, oh, I can help them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aaron,
I-
are you referring to like Facebook just having like the number of messages, or are you referring
Yeah.
to like the pop-ups that happen?
No, I just see that there's a message. I'm
Okay.
one that has no unread emails, no
Yeah.
unread text.
Yeah, that I don't
What
think
those?
you can make that little number go away, but the pop-ups.
No,
like,
I don't
my
have those.
computer
Yeah.
Doing the
I don't
pop-ups drives me
those are
nuts. I'm like,
muted.
That's turning
Yeah,
off.
but thinking, oh, somebody might need me.
I
That-
know.
I wish I could turn that off.
Yeah. That's a
That's
brain
what
thing because I
that's
do
what
the
I'm
same
working on.
thing. Yeah, me too.
Working on it.
I sit there like,
So-
okay, who's going to answer it? Somebody's going to answer it. Somebody's going to answer it. I'm not going to answer it. And the next thing you know, I'm answering it. So it's- I know.
It's that helpful gene in us. We just can't help ourselves.
I know.
Oh,
Yeah, turning off messenger notifications was huge.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
agree.
yeah.
But I mean, all of our apps notify. Like,
Yeah.
I can't remember which one it was. That it's like, why would you even need to notify me? Like, you're not something
Oh,
that
yeah.
needs
I
to
must
be
have all
notified.
mine turned off,
Like,
except my reminders, because I don't get them.
blows my mind.
Yeah, I
Okay,
had to go in and turn mine off because they were draining my battery every day. Like, this is
oh, that's
ridiculous.
true too. So performance prompt number 3, the things I would start doing. So we talked about stop doing, but what about the things that you would start doing?
Working out in the morning.
Yes,
Yay.
I dropped
Got
those
it
kids
done.
straight to workout.
Mhm.
That has been really impactful for me.
It's done and I don't have to think about it and I'm not going to
I
get
think-
distracted and keep putting it off all day.
Yeah, I've had people that told me, I mean, I know some of y'all don't know me as well as others, like Val, but I mean, I started teaching aerobics at 5 a.m. when my youngest was nursing and he's 21. And at the time, it worked out because I'm like, okay, wake up, nurse him, go home, nothing. But then it's like they got older and all this, and still I'm like, when I get up that early, nothing, as long as I get up, nothing gets in my way. Nothing can stop it as long as I get out of bed and go do it.
Yeah.
So it's just like, there's, you know, and that there really is a lot of science about doing it the first of the morning and being one and done. Now, if I could just get all my IPA done right after that.
When I was teaching and commuting, I had a gym and I'd go at the 4 o'clock in the morning because that was the only time I could, because by the time I got home, by commuting home, there wasn't any time to go in the evening by the time got back to town and got the kids situated, all that stuff. But those days were the best days. And I went and I got it done. I went into the classroom with so much more energy. I was such a better teacher, I thought, during the day. My kids in the class had a better day because everything just felt really good. And I wasn't drinking a gallon of coffee. Like it makes you feel so much better. Your whole day is better.
And I don't know how many of y'all, honestly, how many of y'all hit a snooze? Once your alarm goes off, you hit snooze at least once. Did you know scientifically, when you do that, you have 15% less energy than people who don't? 15%.
I feel
So
it.
it's like
Okay.
my husband cannot get up when alarm goes off. He's like, it makes me mad. I can't do it. I'm like, okay. Because I am like, alarm goes off, boom, I am out of that bed or I won't get up. But I saw that study and I'm like, see this, because he's like, why do you jump up and get out of bed so quick? I'm like, because the alarm went off. It means it's time to get up. You know, and he's like,
Interesting.
oh, I need 10 more minutes. And then I saw that study and I'm like, well, guess what? Yeah, they said up to 15% less energy when you hit snooze, even one time.
I believe
Wow.
it.
But if you hit it multiple
I
times,
feel it.
I know, but like on
It's your
weekends, when I
done
don't
deal.
have to get up and I lay there and kind of snooze or whatever. I mean, I can totally feel an energy drain.
yeah, that's true.
Totally makes a difference to me.
'Cause
We
you're-
have
isn't
such
it
a
'cause you're
routine
resetting that
here.
sleep cycle.
Yeah, and it messes. I mean, it can affect your entire day,
Yeah.
all your energy. Yeah.
Yeah, he has the
That's the
alarm.
goal
He
is
gets
not
up
to
first.
eat.
Yeah, No, it's,
Were you trying to say something, Laura?
I was just saying, Tim has an alarm. He gets us up. He starts the day, and then I get up probably 30 minutes later. So I know in my head, I got about 30 more minutes while he's getting ready, and then I get up. And that's just how we roll. But, or either we're both up if we have to be somewhere by 5:30. But I don't stay past 7 usually. I like to be up and going.
If you guys struggle to get up in the morning, those like sunlight lamp things are amazing.
Where they slowly come on.
Slowly come on, like roughly like 15 to 30 minutes before your actual alarm.
Mhm.
It is so easy to get up to those suckers. It is nice. I love them. Okay, last performance prompt. Look at our time. We're doing good, man. A weekly schedule that I could use to get healthier and actually stick to would be, we kind of touched on this with like going to the gym immediately. That's a schedule it sounds like we can stick to. But what else could we do? A weekly schedule. Any other ideas?
Some people meal prep, but I don't.
I don't either. I struggle with that so much.
Well, it's just me and my husband, and we'll be like, okay, what's for dinner? He's the cook, so it's like, what's for dinner? I make a couple things, and they're pretty much cold weather things, so it's going to be my time to shine here in just a little bit. But it'll be like he'll be like, okay, what's for dinner? And that's what we have. So it's so much easier now than it used to be. But still, meal prep would be amazing because then you could just get it out of the freezer or the fridge.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of meal prep because we cook all our meat at one time. We smoke it, do it all up, and then I break it down into meals for us because just us. And so all I got to do is pull out the meat already cooked and already have in my head what I'm going to throw with it, for the week. So
Mhm.
that's helped us a lot because I stress if I got to figure out what's for dinner. I just start. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I
I
think
know
that's my
after,
biggest stress is meal prep. Like food like freaks me out. I don't know why. Like there's like a mental block and I cannot make good choices or like plan ahead for meals. We always get to that at the end of the day. Like, what's for dinner? Oh, you don't have an idea? And then we always end up going out or doing something really bad. It's just, and I don't cook. And my husband travels. So it's like,
Yeah.
bad.
like tough.
Yeah.
After reset, we started doing 2 things. We started making our dinner slightly larger so that we had leftovers for lunch. And we started
Mhm.
making like wraps, like turkey wraps with like apples in them, and make several of them on Sundays so that we had an easy like grabbing lunch. So like we have not figured out the dinner thing, but at least we know like, hey, there is a healthy lunch sitting in the fridge. Like
That's
don't
awesome.
do, because that's my really bad time is lunch. I'm like, what am I gonna eat 5 lunches later? So having that, it was just those 2 simple things. We made dinner slightly bigger so there was like leftovers, and we proportioned them out nice. Reset did that to us. It felt good.
And what we do, because we don't mind leftovers, but I'll make, and there's just 2 of us now, but I'll cook as though the boys are here. So then we'll have that for dinner at least one more night. And then I usually have chicken salad made, like a healthy chicken salad at the beginning of the thing. And then if we want something different, like turkey wrap or something, we just do something kind of simple. And we do tons of roasted veggies, and you can roast a bunch of them at once. And they're good for days. So
How
not
long
really
will they
meal
last?
prepping. Huh?
How long do they last? Like if you roast them and then put them in the
You
fridge.
should eat them most of the week.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can last a good, 5
Oh,
days
yeah.
in there. I
Yeah.
mean, that's how we did too. I mean, I
You
even
feed,
learned,
like, sheet full of vegetables at the beginning of the week,
Right.
and we eat it with
I
whatever.
steam rice and I package it up so that because I hated that instant rice stuff, it's just yucky. So I steam my own rice, have it all done, and pull out and just having the fruits and veggies in the fridge to grab instead of something else, it's helped a lot.
Ooh, blueberries
like
is
if
another
we're-
thing.
Whenever I do soups and stuff, I'll make like a really big batch
Yes.
and freeze
Yes.
half of it.
Yeah.
Again, and we have enough, like we just had we're big hunters. We had a venison cabbage soup and we ate on it for 3 days. Well, I have a whole gallon Ziploc frozen for like another, when we go hunting or sometime I'm like, I don't really want to cook or grocery. We can thaw that out and have it. So
I made
double
them
packing
mini,
is easy.
those mini chicken pot pies.
Mm.
The biscuits. You can use better bread, but it's the biscuits, but those are nice to pull out of the freezer when we travel, the day travel that we get in late. I just pull that out and heat up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna jump off. I know he's fixing to be here and the dogs are gonna go crazy. We're gonna be pulling out, going to our next training spot. But thank y'all.
So we're
you-
covering the same chapter 2 next week, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll just
I
touch on
didn't
like
read this last chapter. I was thinking it was next week, so I'll get caught up on it. The
Same,
just
same.
practice the performance prompts and we'll chat about it.
Oh, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure I didn't need to read that and a whole nother chapter. Okay, good.
Oh, you're
We're also
good.
doing Bible study and I'm going, I have to stay caught up. All right. Thank you, ladies, for leading. This is awesome.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.